This session will explore how to design a dashboard for the project job portal. By end of this session, you will be able to design a dashboard using a grid layout, display a user's full name on the dashboard using React state and props, create an API to retrieve the full name of user based on the CSR token generated during sign-in process. Finally, implement a logout functionality on the dashboard. State and props in React. These two concepts are fundamental in React development. Props are used to pass data from parent to child component. They are read-only and cannot be modified by the child. State is managed within the component. It allows us to handle dynamic data that changes over time. The table shows the key difference between props and state. Now we will look at the sample screenshot and explore how React components fit into the layout structure. The suitable layout structure is grid. Grid layout is an efficient way to organize and display components on the dashboard. To design a dashboard, open both projects React and Spring Boot and execute it. Let me open a Spring Boot project and execute by using run as Spring Boot app. Then open React application, enter into the project folder and execute it. Then click on the link. It opens in the browser. As of now, the welcome page is ready and sign in module is completed. Let me sign in by using username and password. If we click on sign in, it validates the username and password from database. If it is valid, then it navigate to dashboard page. Let us start designing a dashboard as per the sample screenshot. In the sample screenshot, the dashboard consists of three parts. One is header and menu and then outlet. Let us start designing a dashboard by using a grid layout. Let us create a grid layout as shown here with the two rows and two columns. We can merge both the columns on first row to allocate a space per header. Then adjust height of the header to 50 px. Then we can allocate a space per menu bar. So like this, we are going to design a grid layout to fix all the components on the dashboard. Go to React application, open the file dashboard.jsx. Set the class name for the parent element as dashboard. Then create three divisions. One is for header with the class name header. And create another division for menu bar with the class name menu. And create another division for outlet. Then save changes. Check all these three divisions are appears on the front end or not. So open a browser and check header division, menu bar division and outlet divisions all displays on the dashboard. Next, we can add CSS to arrange these divisions properly on the screen. So for adding a CSS, we can use app.css or we can create a separate CSS file to define a style for dashboard.jsx. Let me create a separate file to define a CSS for a dashboard. So by right click on src folder and use the option new file and create a new CSS file. Now the file has been created with the name dashboard.css. Then go to dashboard.jsx and import the file dashboard.css here. After importing, define a style for the parent element which class name is dashboard. Go to dashboard.css, define a style for the parent element dashboard. Allocate a space width 100% of the browser and height 100% of the browser. Then add a background with a high contrast color yellow for testing. Later we can change it as white. So then save the changes, go to the browser and check what is the style we defined on dashboard.css is reflected on the result. Then we can change the background color from yellow to white. Then create style for the three divisions, header, menu, and outlook. Dashboard is the parent. Inside there is a separate division with a class name, header. So here just I'm going to set a background. Later we can change background as red. Next create another class that is for menu and set background green. Then create dashboard dot outlet and set background as blue. So then save changes and check the result now. So three divisions with three different colors. Next, we are going to apply the grid layout on the dashboard. So for applying a grid layout, go to the class dashboard and change the display style as grid. After changing the display style as grid, we can split the window into two row with two columns. So grid hyphen template rows with two values because we are going to create two rows. Auto, auto. Then grid template columns with two values. We are going to add two columns on it. Then save changes. Now check the result. The first division will be on first row, first column. Second division will be on first row, second column. Third division will be on second row, first column. There is no fourth division. That's why the fourth column, that means second row, second column is empty. So then we can allocate a gap between the grids. So by adding this style, we can allocate a gap between the grids. Now I'm using the style gap colon 1 pixel. Let us see what is happens now. It allocates 1 pixel gap on each and every grid. Next, we will allocate a space for header by merging both the columns of first row. Go to CSS where we defined a style for the header. There we can add grid column starting with 1, ending with by merging second column. So now we can check both the columns on first row are merged and allocated a space for header. Next, we need to adjust height of the first row to allocate a space for header. So go to grid template rows, change height of the first row as 50 pixels. Then save changes. Now you can see height is allocated 50 pixel per first row. So next we are going to adjust width of the first column as 200 pixel. Then save changes. So now we divide the screen into three parts. One is for header, one is for menu, and another one for to display the modules on outlet. Now we will remove the background colors to get its originality. Background red is not required. Background green not required, and background blue. Then save changes. So here we need to allocate a border bottom with 1 pixel, solid border with the RGB value 0,0,0 with the percentage 0.1. Light gray color is applied to the border. So let us see how it appears on the front end. Now the header is displayed with the bottom border. Like that, we need to allocate border right for the menu bar. So go to menu, set border right with 1 pixel, solid border with a light gray color. Save changes and check output on the browser. Then allocate a background color for outlet. So here we can set the background with the hexadecimal value F4, F2 and F6. So as per the sample screenshot, the background color is applied for the third division outlet. Then we will focus on the header part. As per the sample screenshot, the header part left hand side, there is a logo with the logo text job portal. Right hand side, there is one icon to implement the logout functionality for the dashboard, along with one label to display the user's full name. So then go to dashboard.jsx. Inside header division, add a image tag to display the logo with the class name logo. Source equal to take image from the public folder. So start with the slash, it will go to public folder. Inside the public folder, there is a image file called logo.png. So inside public, there is a image file logo.png. Then alternate path is null and close the image tag. Save changes. Check the output now. The image is appears with its original size. Next, we need to define a style to fix it on the header. Go to dashboard.css. The parent element is header. Inside, there is a class called logo. Set width of the image as 40 pixels and align it on left hand side. So float left and allocate some space on top, margin top 5px and allocate some space on left, margin left 10px. Then save changes and check how the image appears on the header. Next, we need to place a logo text job portal near to the logo. So go to dashboard.jsx, create a separate division inside the header to display the logo text. Or division with class name logo text. There we can write job portal. So in this case, job and portal having two different styles so that the portal is enclosed with span tag. So then we can define a style for the class logo text in dashboard.css. The parent class is header. Inside there is a class logo text. Before defining a style for logo text, we need to make center alignment of the text job portal on the header. So go to the style where we define for the header. There we can add line height to make center alignment. Line height and size of the header 50px. The height of the header is equal to height of the first row. Then check output now. The text job portal is vertically aligned center. Then we can start defining style for the logo text. Now define the font size 20 pixel points and the font width weight bold and align left margin left 5px and color with hexadecimal value to D74PE. So now check how it appears on the front end. So it is appeared based on the style defined. Next, we need to define a style for the text portal. So define a class header. Inside header, there is a class logo text. Inside logo text, there is a tag called span. Then set font color by using the hexadecimal value as 3C4256. So it will give a dark gray color. So then save changes and check output now. Then we need to place an icon on right hand side to implement the logout functionality and a label to display the user's full name. So return back to dashboard.jsx. To display logout icon on right hand side, we must download the logout icon from internet. After downloading, go to your downloads folder, copy that file, then go to your project location. The project is located in D drive inside FSD job portal. Go to the public folder and paste it. Now we can add image tag with the class name logout and source equal to file name logout.png. Alternate path is null. Then close the image tag. Save changes and check how it appears on the front end. So the logout.png is appears based on its original size. Next, we need to define a style for the class logout. Go to dashboard.css. Inside header, there is a class logout. So there we have the image. So for that image, we are going to allocate a width as 24 pixels and it should be aligned right side so that float right with margin top 12 pixels and margin right 10 pixels. Then save changes, go to the browser and check how it appears on the front end. Then we need to place a label to display the user's full name on the dashboard. So go to dashboard.jsx, add a label to display the user's full name. Save. Next, we need to define style for the label. So go to dashboard.css dot header. Inside there is a tag called label. Now we are going to define style for the label. Let me assign font weight as bold and it is placed on the right hand side. So float right with the margin right 10 pixels. Save changes and go to the browser and check the label appears on the right hand side of the header or not. Next, we will discuss how to create an API to retrieve user's full name from database. The API will use the CSR token generated during sign-in process. This token serves as an identifier for secure communication between client and server. Open Spring Boot application. Go to the package klu.model. Open the file jwtmanager.java. This is the file we created to generate a JWT token. While generating a token, we embedded email ID of the user on the token. Now we need to claim this email ID. Based on this email ID, we need to retrieve user's full name from database. Now we need to create a separate method, validate the token and extract email ID from it. Public string validate token with input in the form of string token. Take token as an input, then create object for claims by using jwts dot parse builder by signing in based on the secret key. Then build. And then extract the data from the token. Parse claim JWS and pass the input token. And then convert it into a claims object by using get body. Then define object for date to check the token is expired or not. Claims dot get expiration and add a constraint if the value of the object expiry equal to null or the value of the expiry before the current date. If this condition is true, then we can return. It means the token is expired. The token is invalid or expired. Else extract email from the token and return it. Return claims dot get email with its data type string dot class. This is the function we created to validate the token. If the token is expired or invalid, return 401 error code as a result. Else it will extract the email ID from the token and returns. Then go to usersmanager.java. We can create a separate method to retrieve user's full name from the database. Public string get full name with passing the input token. Then extract email ID from the token. String email equal to. Using the object of JWT manager, we can call the method validate token and pass token as an input to validate token. It returns either 401 or email address of the user. Now we need to compare the value of email is equal to 401. It means that the token is invalid or expired. Then return the error message with the error code 401 with a special character token expired. Then create object for the entity class users, and by using the object of user repository and call the method find by ID and pass email as a primary key and get value from the database. Then return the full name of the user by using the object of entity class u dot get full name. Then we can generate API to access this method. Then go to the package controller and open the file users controller.java. Create a new endpoint to get full name from the database at the rate post mapping and set the service name as get full name and create a method get full name and take input from the request body and create object for map to read JSON data. Then return by using the object of user manager and call the function get full name and pass the input data dot get CSR ID. During a sign-in process, the token is generated and saved in the browser cookies in the name CSR ID. So we need to pass the token as an input to the get full name for user manager class. Now we can test the API using Postman tool. So open Postman tool, set request method as post and provide the URL. The Spring Boot application is running with the port number 8080. So provide the URL to access the API, http://localhost followed by the port number 8080 slash name of the API. So in users controller.java, the API name given as users. So provide the API name. Inside there is a service with the name get full name. So service name is get full name. Then pass CSR ID which is generated during sign-in process. So click on the tag body and then input type is raw and input format JSON. So JSON means it should be enclosed with open and close braces. Then the key is CSR ID and pass value for CSR ID. So let me show how to get CSR ID which is generated during sign-in process. So go to the browser, copy the URL of front end, open Firefox browser and paste the URL. Then click on sign in, enter valid username and password for sign-in process and provide password. Click on sign in. It will navigate to dashboard page. Now use Control Shift C, then click on storage and go to the tab cookies. Then click on the link. There we can see the generated CSR ID for successful sign-in. Copy the value, just double click on the value and copy, then return back to Postman tool and paste it. Then send your request to the API get full name. It will bring the full name of the user from the database. Let us cross check with the database. Open MySQL Workbench and execute select query for the table users. The table has only one record for the user ID and password. The full name of the user is retrieved and displayed here as a response. Then we need to integrate this API in the front end to display the user's full name on the dashboard. In the React application, go to dashboard.jsx and integrate the API to get user's full name from database and display it on the label. We can use state and props to update user's full name on the front end. So inside render, create a state for full name and initialize it using a constructor. Create a constructor and pass the parameter props to its parent class. Then initialize the state. This dot state equal to name of the state, full name, and initialize with the empty string. The user's full name is get updated on the state when the component is mounted on the browser. That means the component is loading on the browser. We can use the function component did mount. Here we can write a logic to integrate the API get user's full name from database. For getting user's full name from database, we need to pass the CSR token which is generated during the sign-in process. For getting a CSR token, we need to use one of the function from api.js. We already implemented the function getSession to get session value from the browser cookies. If you want to use this function, it must be imported in the dashboard.jsx. Import from the file name which is available in the same directory api.js. After importing, we can use the function getSession to get CSR token which is generated during the sign-in process. Let CSR equal to, we can call the function getSession and pass the session name. We can use Firefox browser to know the session name which is available on the cookies. The name of the session is CSR ID. So pass the name of the session CSR ID as a parameter to get session function. Then prepare a JSON data to establish a secure communication between client and the server. Let data equal to JSON dot string ify is a function help us to prepare a JSON data in JavaScript. So here we can pass the value of CSR ID which is available in the variable CSR. Then use call API function of api.js and pass value to the parameters. First parameter is the request type is post. We can go through the Postman tool and find out what is the request method for the API. Post is the request method. So the first parameter is post. Second one URL. So we can take the base URL which is already defined in api.js and concatenate with the remaining part. The base URL http://localhost 8080 is already defined in base URL. Then we need to concatenate the remaining part of the API. So base URL plus users/get full name. And the third parameter is our input that is already defined data. And fourth parameter, we need to specify the function name to handle the response. So this dot show full name. I just name the function as show full name. Then we need to define the function show full name to handle the response. So create a function with the name show full name and take response as a parameter. Inside show full name, update the value of the state. If the value of the state is updated, it will trigger the re-rendering process. So the full name will be reflected on the front end. This dot set state, and the name of the state is full name, and set value for the full name based on the response received from the API. Then the function show full name must be binded inside the constructor. So this dot show full name equal to this dot show full name dot bind of this. After binding, embed the state into the label where we need to display the user's full name. So after embedding a state in the label, then you can save and check output on the browser. So refresh, now we can see user's full name on the dashboard. Finally, let's implement the logout functionality. If user click on the logout icon, it must clear the CSR token and redirecting the user to welcome page. Go to dashboard.css and implement hover functionality for the logout icon. And set cursor type pointer opacity 0.75%. Then save. If the user move cursor on the logout icon, the cursor type has been changed and the visibility changed to 75%. If user click on the icon, it clear the CSR token from the browser cookies and redirect to welcome page. Now we can implement the logout functionality for this icon. Go to dashboard.jsx and create a function for logout. To clear CSR token from browser cookies, use the function setSession from api.js and pass parameters. First parameter is name of the session, that is CSR ID is the name of the session, and second parameter is value. So pass empty string to set value for CSR ID, and third parameter is the expiry time. Passing negative value to the third parameter will clear the cookie from the browser. Next, redirect to welcome page. Window dot location dot replace with the address of welcome page. Then save. Implement on-click event for the logout icon. So find out the tag, image tag, which is given for logout icon. Add on-click functionality. On-click equal to use arrow function and call the function logout. Then save. Go to the browser, click on the logout icon. It will redirect to welcome page, and also we will check whether the cookies has been cleared or not. So use Ctrl Shift C on the Firefox browser. Go to storage and click on the link. So there is no cookies available for the link localhost 5848. So after logout, if user try to access the dashboard by providing the URL on the address bar, it will navigate to the dashboard. This should be restricted. Go to dashboard.jsx. Inside component did mount. Next to getting the CSR token from the browser cookies, we need to check the condition. If the value of CSR is equal to null, then it should be logged out. Then save and go to the browser. Try to access the dashboard by providing the URL on the address bar. It will redirect to welcome page. Once logged out, they cannot able to access the dashboard by providing URL on the address bar. So we designed a dashboard using a grid layout and displays a user full name on the dashboard using React state and props. And we created an API to retrieve the user's full name from database and integrated with the front end. Finally, we implemented the logout functionality by clearing a CSR token from the browser cookies and redirecting users to the welcome page when they click on the logout icon. This ensures a secure session management.